Hello everybody, Steven here with Cardboard Coalition. Reswan's not here with us. We can call it scheduling or whatever, but this is also a game where she would need to be here to play because there's a lot of reading of the cards and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the review. If you guys haven't seen it, we did a how to play the game with the 2 to 4 player setup, and how to play the game is single player. And solo play. And this is set up right now still for solo play because I actually just got done playing a solo play. Then I cleaned everything up because it got a little bit wild. But anyways, um, Imperium Classics is from Osprey Games. It's a 1 to 4 player game. It takes 40 minutes per player to play, though I feel like it takes me about an hour and a half, but I'm still learning the rules when I play solo. And back of the box, I don't know the age. Let's see. It says 14 plus. 14 plus. It's really small at the bottom. So 14 plus. So just the review of the game is kind of what we're going to talk about today. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that I like the game. I enjoy playing it. Now, I will say that it's a heavier game. I think it's on Board Game Geek. It's a 3.62, 3.63 out of 5, which puts it firmly in that medium to heavyweight. So medium heavyweight, I think, is what they use. There's definitely some thinking that has to go into this. So you have that. So if you like deck builders, this might be a game for you. If thinky deck builders is not your thing, where you have to think a lot, maybe not. If you just want to have fun, remember talking about those popcorn movies, popcorn game. Just throw cards down, pick cards up, beat the bad guy or not, or beat your friends, however you want to look at it or not. This might not be a game for you, but it still might be a game for you. So let's talk about a couple things. Theme. I personally like the theme. So this is the Classics version. There's a Legends version. Classics version has, for the most part, historical characters. I'm playing the Scythians, and I believe that, or the Scythians, the Scythians, and I believe Dido's in this one, which is questionable, right? Really questionable. But the Legends version has Arthurian, Utopian, Atlantin, right? There's 8 of them, but each one comes with 8. So this one, and I'll mess it up, but we have the Celts, which I'm playing, or I played with, the Scythians, Celts, Scythians, Vikings, Romans, Greeks, Macedonians. I got so close. Persians, and I can't remember. I can't remember the other one, but there's 8. There's 8 in here. But theme-wise, I love it. Right? I love classic characters. I love characters in classic civilizations. I love civilizations of legend. So themes right there for me. The price for the game, I believe MSRP is either $29.99 or $35.99, one of the two. I got it under. Like I told you guys, I tried to find deals on everything. And I did get it when it first came out, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. It took me a while to kind of learn it, get it out, play it a handful of times to feel comfortable talking to you guys about it. But price-wise, I think it's, if you like it, it's worth the price. If you like it, right? It's worth the price. If you're not sure, there's always game cafes that you can go to and hopefully have it, see if a friend has it. Like I said, you live in the area, you want to try it. Well, if you live in the Vegas area, I shouldn't probably tell people where I live, but I'm here. I'm always willing to play games with people. If you're interested in trying it, you could always just hit me up. But to see if you kind of like it. But I think it's a good game for what you're paying for, right? I think you get a good value out of it. Now, that would be cost. The player count is 1 to 4. Now, I like bigger player counts on games, for sure, but it has a solo player mode, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit, and it's fun, and I like it, and I'm okay with this. It's one of these games that I can sit down and play by myself. So I didn't play a ton of games when I was younger, but I do remember my dad playing solitaire a lot. He would get bored and he'd play solitaire. And so I sometimes will play solitaire. And any game that I can find that I can play in a solo mode, especially when it comes to with cards, it kind of scratches that itch for me, right? And so I do like the count. So if you're looking for a solid single player, I would say this is definitely a solid single player. The theme works and the price works and things like that. And if you're thinking about replayability, you have 8 civilizations in here. There's campaign modes where you can go through things. There's difficulty levels. So there's a lot of replayability, even with 2 to 4 players, because there's 8. Do the math, right? There's 8 different civilizations in here. Even if you go 4 players, what's your combinations? 2 players, 3 players, so on and so forth. So you do get a lot of replayability in it. The thing that I will tell you guys is you are going to have to read. You're going to have to get through the rule book, and there's 2. There's a rule book, the regular rule book, and then the solo rule book. And they cover all 16 different civilizations, because they'll tell you how to set up, and they'll say things in this one. Even though I have classics, they'll say if you have Arthurians, don't do this, right? I don't have the Arthurian guys in here. But there's rules in here, and some people complain about these rules because this kind of gets a mixed review. And what I found, and I played this originally with a buddy who's been playing games for a long time, and luckily he's okay with heavier weight games, and he was willing to work through the game with me. And played with him a few times, and it wasn't that difficult. Granted, we had to go back in, we had to look at things. You can't just flip through the rules and then you get down to the keywords and you're like, I don't need the keywords. I'll talk to those keywords later on, right? We'll read through those and we'll have a little conversation. It will tell you, here's some keywords to start off with. But it helps to read all the way through the keywords too. Read everything kind of in the rule book to help you understand it. And it does take a play or two to feel more comfortable. Or in my case, it took me several, and especially in the solo. And I know I was probably doing some things wrong. But there are some rules to read through, and you're going to have to do that. But it's because the game does a lot. Now, I'm just going to respond to some of the stuff that I've heard out there already, because this has been out for a little bit. I know I'm a little bit behind the gate on that one. I don't get all the big YouTube followers because I'm not doing this right away. But I want to feel comfortable with it. So one of the things that I heard a lot of people talk about, or some of the controversy, is that there's not much theme there, and I would argue not that there's not much theme. Let me backtrack. It's that the people don't feel, the civilizations don't feel all that different, and you're basically just doing the same thing over and over. And granted, your basic cards, let's see, like the bot deck, ones that have no symbols across the bottom, if you watch either the how to plays, they're gonna have similar cards in there. Not nomads. Let's see if I can pull one in here. Advanced, which my card chipped, and we'll talk about that in a second. Advanced, glory. There's civilizations that have those cards, but how the civilizations go about winning, their win conditions are different. You have the Vikings, which they're trying to get their Ascension card just into their discard pile. That starts the scoring phase, which is the in-game kind of thing. But with the Celts and with the Vikings, there's a lot of cards that can give unrest to the other player or the other players. And in this case, I was playing with them against the bot. And I did win one time with the Vikings because I gave the bot all the unrest cards, which put you into collapse. And then all you do at collapse is you count who has the most collapse cards. Whoever has the most collapse cards loses. Whoever has the least wins. And if there's any kind of tie for first place, it goes over money, and then I'm sure it trickles down from there, or victory points, I'm sure it trickles down from there. Now, if you watch the original How to Play, I'll just say it right now, and I know we're a bit into the video, but I messed it up. I originally said that once you hit collapse, once all these unrest cards are gone, you hit collapse, and then you just count your victory points. That is not true. I was right that once you hit collapse, everything stops. Where I messed up is you count your unrest cards each player has. Whoever has the least wins, right? So the Celts, the Vikings, you could start throwing unrest cards at people. And if you know anything about history, I mean, a lot of people know about Vikings. They went out and raided, right? I'm not going to give you a whole history lesson, but they went out and raided. They caused unrest, right? They went out and raided. Well, the Celts, for the Saxon and the Anglo tribes, the Germanic tribes that came over, they were causing them heartache all the time too. They were cattle raiding. There's a card here, it's cattle raiding, I think is hilarious and awesome. They did cattle raids. They caused unrest, right? And then when the Romans came in, which some people might know a little bit more, in Hadrian's Wall, up in the like the British Isles, which divides England and Scotland, right there. Anyways, I'm not doing history for you guys. The Celts would keep raiding these I was gonna call them Italian, these Roman settlements. That's why they put up the wall. But here's the thing: the wall never stopped them. It's one of those great things. They kept running over the wall, and these crazy pale skin probably glowed in the moon. And trust me, I have some of their blood in me. Painted themselves blue, went butt naked, and charged over walls, ran into battle, and just caused havoc. They have Boudica in here, which is one of the leaders of the Celtic leaders that ran around and caused a lot of havoc. She's on a lot of cards, but she has her own card, which causes problems for the other people playing, which is awesome, right? So you do get that feel. The Scythians, as I was playing them as the bot, there's a point where they were just starting to gain everything. They were gaining land, and they were gaining followers, they were gaining people, and at one point, when they hit Empire, they started gaining victory points left and right, and I'm like, they're gonna crush me, right? They become this big, strong civilization. So I would argue that within these, people say there isn't much. I feel like there is a lot, especially if you know the history, or lightly. Trust me, I'm a very lightly know the history. For the life of me right now, off the top of my head, the Scythians, it's because I'm on the spot, I can't pull where they're from, and I'm not even gonna try because I have a guess in my head, and right? But if you know a little bit about these different groups, it does feel very thematic towards that group. And then you might be arguing, it doesn't feel thematic, how they're supposed to engage. That's not necessarily the game. The game is becoming the most victorious civilization, the greatest civilization you can build while in contact with these other civilizations. Are there some cards that fight and attack? Yes, there are, which is fun. But for the most part, you're trying to build your civilization, get the most victory points, be the most victorious civilization sitting at the table. And based on the civilizations, that feeling is there. Now, do you have to work to get to that? Yes. You have to put some time into this game. That's 100% for sure, without a doubt. And don't get me wrong, I love my easy games, my fun games, right? This one is fun, easy, lots going on. Once you get used to the iconography, right, the images on the cards, and they give you lots of information. I know it's hard to see from there, but based on some of these things, there's who the card belongs to, where you put the card, what grouping you put the card in. Yes, you do have to look at the rule book to get used to it, but after a couple plays, you start understanding, and you get a feel for where everything goes. You get a feel for the setup. And trust me, for me, it was intimidating to see this set down. And it didn't help to watch the videos where these people play games and tons of games, they start complaining, this is hard. And I'm like, I already ordered it. I put my money out there. And then I got myself to sit down, like I said, with a buddy and played through it. I forced myself to read through the rule book. I'll admit that because I was so worried I wasn't going to grasp it. Luckily, I had a buddy that's used to heavier games, was willing to sit down with me and have us work through the game. But the one thing I found is once I started understanding how the game worked, I found myself wanting to play it again and again. Not just because I want to do this video for this review, which I played the single player multiple times now, but I found that I played it and I was like, I can go paint. I need to paint some of the wolves for Zombicide. Okay, I've been painting a lot of the Zombicide stuff. I should spend some time doing that. But I was like, I'm going to get another play, a single play, or a solo mode play through it. And then it was, I got Dark Rituals. I need to read through that. I kind of want to sit down and mess with that a little bit. But then what kept itching at the back of my head is, no, I want to play another solo mode and go up against another civilization. Maybe use it different. I used the Vikings a couple times. And then I was like, I need to change it up. And I changed it to the Celts, which could cause unrest. But I like chaos. But then I wanted to come back to it. And I wanted to come back to it. And I thought yesterday, I'm just going to do the review video. And I thought, no, I want to play through this again, right? I want to sit down and play through it again. So it keeps pulling me back in. Though there is, they call it a steep learning curve. I think that scares people away. What it is you have to put work in. You put in that work and you receive, I think, a lot more from it. for putting in that work, for understanding how it works. When I played this last game solo mode, at first I'm like, I'm crushing it with the Celts. I'm going to keep giving the Scythians unrest. But then the bot kept throwing out this card that allowed him to take an unrest out of the discard pile, like get rid of it. I'm like, no, what are you doing? I'm trying to give you unrest. I want to make everything wild and crazy and win that way. And so at one point I had to switch my goals. Like, I'm going to go through the Fame deck and try to end this game. If I can end this game quick while they still have a lot of unrest in there, it's a lot of negative points. I'm going to start gathering up as many points as I can and end this as quick as I can. I had to change strategy mid-game. And granted, I'm a newer gamer, but how often do I change strategy mid-game? Not all that often. And how often do I change strategy, but I'm excited about it? Not that often. I would think, if I can think of a couple times I did change strategy, it was more like, oh, I'm not going to win this when I have to. This one I was like, all right, I got you. You keep blocking me here. I'm going to switch it up on you, and I'm going to still get you. I'm still going to be the better civilization at the table, right? So there is that, but you have to put work in, right? So things to love about this. Let's talk about some things to love about it. The art's amazing. Some people might not think it's their taste. To me, I love the art. It's fun. The references to historical and some quasi-historical characters is fun. They put in their homework. It makes it fun. It almost makes me want to look up the civilizations and read a little bit more to try to gather more information, right? If I hadn't read about Boudica and seen a documentary on Boudica, I might not have got that. But then when I see her on the card, I see that redhead right there, and I'm like, oh, Boudica's gonna cheat up, right? I get excited. So the art's great. They put time into this. The historical, I would argue the feel is there for the civilizations. And that, I would say they studied, they put time into building it up that way. I like the deck building, right? I like trying to build up your cards and put cards down. There's card management. You have areas, I don't have them set up, but you have areas where you lay cards down and it gets more complex and you're like, oh, wait a minute, but it's the solstice. I can do this and I can do that and do this and switch that to there. And I'm gonna take this card and put it back over here because I can do it because of the solstice, and I'm ready to go again. I'm ready to try to get as many points or build up to something, right? So it's there, right? I like the gameplay. I like the cards. I like the mechanics, how it's set up. I think it's great. Originally, I wasn't a big fan of the back of the cards and how they look, but it's grown on me, so I really like it. Things that could be a drawback is, yes, you have to dig in. If you're only playing this one, you have to dig in. If you're, I'm gonna flip it upside down. If you want to do solo, you have to read through this to get the basic understanding and then dive into solo. Because some of the stuff in solo, on your turn, you do what's in that. But also, they both have quick reference on the back for both of them, which is always great, right? So you have to read in. You have to put some time into this game, right? But I will say that you're going to get some stuff back from putting time into that game. Once you understand how to set it up, it doesn't take that long to get the game out on the table. It's pretty self-explanatory once you understand what's what, right? And it's probably with lots of games. How they're set up in here, there's spaces for all the cards. It's named underneath, so you know where the cards go. That's awesome, right? I like rolling dice, but this is really just for the bot. And I think the single player mechanic is awesome with these number tiles. If you guys can't see them because of the angle, these number tiles that are here and how the die works, right? You roll the die, you put it, whatever number it is, you put it on that card. That card doesn't get played. At the end, that card goes right here. Whatever card that's up here under this number gets the victory point put on it, right? And also how they set up, how the bot chooses to exile cards, how the bot chooses to break through, all those kind of things are very simple once you understand it. And this is, I think, a great way. Ingenious might be a little hyperbole, and I'm newer at games, but I think it's an awesome way to set this up. So I do like that kind of stuff. But there's the getting into understanding how to play the game. You're going to have to do that. Other things that are, I don't think the card quality is all that great, right? I was just thinking today, I want to sleeve my cards. Oh, and look, I picked up the card. So I got this card. And before I even played, I chipped a bit of the corner off, right? And I think it's because however they cut it, the back side's rounded, the front side is not. There's an edge. And I know you guys can't see, but you can feel it. When I run my finger flat across, I can feel an edge. And I'm assuming it's how they punched them through, pop, 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 which causes things to chip and stuff. So I'm going to put these in sleeves, and I don't know if the sleeves are going to fit in here, but I'm not a big fan of the quality of the card stock. I guess that's the way to put it. I wish it was on better card stock, which might have raised the price, but I kind of wish it was on better card stock. The other thing is not all the cards are cut the same size. I want to say it is the uncivilized cards. I could be wrong. I want to say it's uncivilized are slightly bigger. And when I say slightly, I do mean slightly. But when you have them in a deck and you're shuffling them around, or when I'm grabbing cards from here and before I even look at them, I go like this with the card, I'm like, oh, there's a civilization. It's not, I don't have any in here. And I'll show you guys just to prove it. There's none in here, I can tell. Not because I know what was in the deck, but because I can tell by the feel. So a little more attention paid to or given to the stock of the card and cutting the card, I would have enjoyed much more. I didn't know how much I felt about how these looked, the cards here, and then the victory points, the people, the materials, and then you have your action tokens and then your exhaust tokens. I was kind of iffy. They were pretty bland, especially compared to the art on the front of the card. So, there's that. But overall, I don't think it's enough to pull you away. The only thing I would say is if you don't like a game that's it's like I said, medium to hard, it's in that harder area. If you're not looking for that, this probably wouldn't be a game that you would like that much. Though I'd still say give it a chance. It might shock you, right? But maybe it's not your thing. If you put that time in, though, you're going to get a lot back out of it. There's not a lot of games that keep calling me. I do like games. I like to play them, but ones that specifically stop playing this, stop doing that, stop doing this, and get another game in. Stop doing this, stop doing that, stop doing this, get another game in. This one, especially in the solo mode, is doing it. Now, with that said, I'm a little afraid to play this with a larger group or bigger groups. One, because it's 40 minutes per person, so you do the math, that's, 2-3 hours, almost 4 hours if you get 4 people to play. Seems like a lot of time for me, though game nights usually last longer than that. But then it's thinking of the casual group that I play with and how they would interact with this. Now, some of the more hardcore or the people who play more, I feel like I could bring this and they might enjoy it, right? So there's that too. But overall, my opinion, would I play this game again? Yes. I'm kind of waiting for some of my friends that have played it to ask to play it again because I want to bring it out. Would I ask to play it again? Definitely. For myself in solo mode, or when a friend that I know that would enjoy the heavier nature of this game, the heavier weight of this game, they would enjoy the historical side of it, and they're like, hey, what game do you want to play? This is a game I would probably offer up. I've almost done it a couple of times, but people have brought up other games to play before I can offer it up. I'm waiting for that. I don't know, whatever. What do you guys feel like playing? I'm like, let's play this game. So, would I play it again? Yes. If anybody asked me to play this game again, I would. I know a lot of YouTubers talk about, if I'm at a convention, you grab my arm, I'll play it with you. Haven't gone to a convention yet, right? But would I play this game again? Yes. Would I ask to play this game again? Definitely. So I think that kind of covers everything I wanted to say for the review. It's a great game, and I truly mean that. It's a great game if you're willing to put the time into it. If you don't want to put the time into it, it might not feel that great for you. But put the time in and you get, I would argue, a lot out of it, a lot of enjoyment out of it, a lot of satisfaction out of it if you're willing to put that time in. So that was the review of Osprey Games Imperium Classics by Osprey Games. I'm Steven with Cardboard Coalition. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you later, everybody. Bye.